Renee, and if you're a woman over 40 and you're starting over, whether that is in your health and wellness, relationships, or life in general, you have landed on the right channel. That is just for you. So I wanted to give you guys a quick update on my relationship that ended about like a month ago, and I have been really waiting to get all of my stuff back from his house because when I left, I took what I packed up, but I didn't really think about it because I was just trying to get out of there. And I just remember that I had plates that I wanted, that a set of plates that were really special to me that I got in Europe, and some of my clothes were still there and I wanted them back. And I have this thing with energy, that your energy is so strong, and your energy in anything that you touch or have, even if it's just something that's not super special to you, but if it's in your space, it picks up your energy. And I wanted my energy out of his house for good. I didn't want any energy connected to him whatsoever. So I have been asking him for it, nicely. I dropped him an email 2 weeks after our big blah, and I was like, look, I just want to wrap up this relationship because this isn't gonna work and I want my stuff back. And I didn't hear anything. So then I waited another week and I was like, okay, I'm gonna message him. And I ended up messaging him a text message, and I was basically look, I want my stuff back. This is a list of things that I have asked for, and you have yet to respond to that message. And I just want to handle this like an adult. I don't want to have any drama or whatever, and basically be a grown-up and a decent human being, and then we can both move on with our lives. So I wrote that, and I gave him a deadline, and I said if I didn't hear back, then I would have to take other actions. And I was super serious, and I was like, if I have to get the sheriff's department involved, fine, but I have asked nicely for my stuff, and I don't want to be kicked around or ignored. That's not going to work for me. So I sent that message, gave him a deadline, gave him until Thursday, and I said if I don't hear from you by Thursday, then I'll be taking this action. And finally I got a response from him yesterday afternoon, and he sent me a picture of a box, and he's like, I am sending your stuff. Sent me a picture of my box and sent me the tracking code or whatever. And I just messaged him back, said thanks, appreciate it, and that's about it. So I feel so much better because I didn't like that controlled part. And the lesson that I have learned from this whole experience is that if you feel pressured in when you're dating somebody and you feel things are just kind of you just always feel pressured is the best way that I can say it. If you're feeling that way at all, or you're feel you're having to shrink down to keep a guy from going off or being angry, or you're afraid that they're not going to like you for who you are. And I started having those thoughts in my head when I was oh my God, he's not going to like me because of this, just attitudes that were picked up early on. That's what I've learned. And also just the disrespect, and that I didn't even realize was just how little respect he had for me, and he just wanted to control everything. And the one thing that I realized is that I have been single for a really long time, and I am used to having to take care of myself. And I made that really clear that, you might think that I'm not trusting you, but I said I've had to fend for myself since I was in my early 20s. And so having somebody take over is just not gonna work. We both need to work as a partnership. So that's one of the lessons that I realized, was that I didn't listen to my instincts, and it just felt things were they were progressing in a way that I wasn't comfortable with, but I just went along with it because I was well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm having anxiety. Maybe I am not, maybe it's just my own problems in past relationships and why I want to slow down, and maybe that's not the right thing, but I was right all along, and I should listen to myself, and I should have let it go and not let things happen that were not safe for me emotionally and physically happen that I just wasn't comfortable with. And So if you have any doubt about that, if you feel like a guy is pushing a relationship along in a way that they try to use like the whole masculine and feminine energy thing, and what I learned is that this is a control thing, and I really want someone who I can be in a partnership with, not someone who wants to take over everything. And when we started talking, actually, he didn't even involve me in a conversation about me moving in. He just was saying, this is the plan and this is what we're going to do. And I had a major problem with that, because I was like, this isn't something that we discussed. And if we are truly in a partnership together, we are talking about things and working things out together. And that didn't happen. He was basically planning my life, and I didn't like that. I was like, if we're going to be planning a life together, then we should be making decisions together. So that's the biggest lesson I think I've learned, is that ignoring that instinct of things are progressing in a way and we're not communicating, and he's not asking the right questions, and we're not having that like good dialogue together. Really, I should have listened to that. So just listen to my lessons on that. It's just, if someone's trying to progress things in a way that is uncomfortable to you and they're not willing to respect that, then that's time to cut that person out of your life, because they should respect your boundaries. And anywho, that's really one of the lessons that I learned today. So my stuff is going to be back, thank God. And I really just like, there's some things like, we have like Christmas dishes that I bought this year, and I may not even keep them. I just want my dishes back from Europe. That was my main thing. And I just wanted my energy out of his house, and I didn't want to leave anything behind. And there were things that I was missing. There was like tops I was missing. I was like, wait a minute, where did this go? So I'm like, they have to be over there at his place. And there's a pair of shoes that he did buy me, but I like them, so I wanted those back too. So anyway, I have just finished acupuncture. I've been really focusing on my health and wellness. I have officially completed my 30 days of Whole30, and that has gone really well. Actually, I'm just going to keep pushing on like I used to. Still waiting for my GLP-1 to come into Walmart's pharmacy. I'm assuming that they had to order it. And so I'm waiting for that, and then I will start that and continue on the Whole30. And then a follow-up to my ultrasound that I have been, actually not my ultrasound, my MRI that I got done on my pelvis on Tuesday. And so the reason why I was sent there was because my fertility doctor recommended that, and he just wanted to make sure that he wasn't sure based off of the ultrasound that he did if I had more fibroids than he could see. And so he wanted to make sure that like my uterus had space and all that sort of thing. And my MRI came back this morning, and basically I had more fibroids than I had anticipated, and cysts on my ovaries and cervix and things that I just didn't even know were there. And so that's something that we were going to have to like look at and figure out. And I have like one fibroid in particular that might be an issue with implantation and things like that. So I have to get those sent over to them to look at. And then really starting over is realizing that my life might look differently than I had wished, and I have to accept that. And that's where I am right now with my life. So I am moving forward, and I had planned to start dating in February again, and that's why I wanted to wrap up this relationship. But right now my main priority is getting myself in a financial position where I feel really strong, and I haven't been there, because I think a lot of the reason in the back of my head why I was in this past relationship was that he was like, you know, the financial support and extra income would have been really helpful in my life. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to be in a relationship with someone because of like finances. And that was the only reason why I would have stayed, not because like I cared. And I didn't even get the things that I wanted anyways. He was like super cheap. So I'm like, I need to provide that for myself. And so I am working really extra hard to have my second income be YouTube. So make sure that you guys subscribe and share this with a friend, especially if they're in their 40s and they're starting over. I am your girl. You're going to walk me go through, and I'm going to talk about my life lessons, and hopefully by me making my mistakes and sharing my journey with you guys, that it will be helpful to you, or at least know that there's somebody out there that's going through something similar. So I'm on my own, and I'm like, okay, if my life moves forward, I want to provide myself this life that I haven't been able to find a partner to provide. So I got to provide it for myself. And that means I need to earn more income. And for me to be able to earn more income, I have to have a second side hustle, which is YouTube. So like and subscribe, and I am available every Wednesday. You guys will get a video from me without fail. So make sure that you subscribe and get more of these tips in my fitness game. And I have a workout today and it's gonna suck. And so I'm gonna go hurry off to work so I can get started on my day.